Let's spit out my gum. All right, we're recording. This is going to be taking this job, 10612, from level 1 to level 2. This will be passed off to a level 2 person now, so they can take over. First thing we're going to do is we're going to annotate our property lines. We do that by going to add label. This will pop up. Line and curve, have existing BD out, and we're going to annotate our property corners. We've already actually first we're going to determine the scale. So what that looks like. Since that was already done, do that again. First, it should have been at 1 to 20. We'll come over and copy the frames. And we'll see which frames fit. We want to get our property, most of the red within the dashed line of a frame. So like that. So as you can see, the red property is within the dashed part of the frame, but this is too big. And as you can see, we prefer the dark blue size. So in order to try to get that to work, actually we prefer either of the dark blue sizes before the cyan. So since none of these really work right now, neither of these really work right now, I'm going to try and go to 1 to 30. I'm going to make sure that this button is checked. I'm going to go to 1 to 30 and see if this property fits within the dark blue of 1 to 30. And as you can see right now, at 1 to 30, it does. This fits good. So we're going to delete these. Like I said, it could have fit earlier in this one at 1 to 20, but we prefer the dark blue size whenever we can. So we're going to keep this at 1 to 30. Now that what this button did is it scaled everything that can be scaled with it. So 1 to 30, when we scaled it to 1 to 30, as if we were to do it to 1 to 30, to 1 to 200, then this is going to be scaled at the proper scale of our current scale. Since, like I said, we're at 1 to 30, this will have all of our annotative objects at the proper scale. So we're going to copy it. We're going to paste it off to the side, just anywhere. And then we're going to explode our copied portion. That way we can grab objects from it. Before it was a block, and now it is not anymore because we exploded it. Now we're going to paste this off to the side of this thing. It doesn't have to be so close. I just like it close. Now that we have the proper frame with the proper scale, now we can start annotating. We didn't do that before because, as you can see, if we're in the wrong scale and we start annotating, then in the wrong scale, then this object would be too big or too small. So we want to make sure that we're in the right scale first. Now that we're in the right scale, now we're going to annotate all of our property lines. This command will put it wherever you click. So if you click way at the side, it'll put it off to the side. So I generally try to click in the middle. I did not give this one to him correctly. Yeah, I did not. So you as a level 2 will not adjust a boundary, but I'm not level 2, so I can. We have everything as it's supposed to be. Now we're going to move all of them to the midpoint and try to keep it at the midpoint as best we can. Sometimes you won't be able to, but that's okay. Like this one, we're not going to be able to keep this one at the midpoint, and I'll show you why in a second, but we're not there yet. That one and that one. I'm actually gonna, so this line is going the correct way. This is going southwest, and because it's an adjoiner, we want to make sure that it's going away from our property, but that puts a sidewalk into it. Actually, I'm gonna trim the sidewalk at 5 feet past. I'm gonna fillet this and trim the sidewalk and the curb. Presumably this was a curb, which needs to be offset by 0.8. Okay. We now have labels for all of our properties. So now I'm going to select them by selecting similar and selecting our plat block. We're going to isolate, copy this plat block over. This is the way I like to do it. You'll find your own way, but we're going to explode everything twice. That way, when you click on it, it's a line for sure, not a polyline or however you drew it. And now these are broken up into individual text boxes. We did this so that we can annotate our record. So what is annotated currently is our field. Now we need to annotate our record. Double clicking, coming inside, hitting Control F, going to your objects in the category, go to objects, go to object in the field name, the object type you're going to click on. You're going to select an object and you're going to select the object that you want to pull from. You're going to pull the angle, hit OK, space, do all of that again. This should all be preset. So you're going to click on the object again, select the object, and you're going to select the length. You're going to click OK. And what that did is it pulled the record pulled from this line, which is this line, what this was annotating, this record's length. This one says it's 55, so it pulled from this line, and it was supposed to go to this one. So I'm actually going to make this one go out to the record to get this total length. I'm going to regen, and that'll now, okay, I guess I didn't click on the right one. So now I'm going to reset it. I'm going to set the length. Now the length matches. Well, it's going to the proper way. I'm going to select all by hitting Control A, Control C, copy all of that. Now come in here, Control A, Control V, backspace. And now I'm just going to do this for all of my lines, getting the angle and the distance. Getting the angle and the distance. I am currently trying to keep track of if these lines are going in the proper way. That meaning that if it's my property, I want it to go clockwise. So I'm going to have my lines go this way. So this way being northwest, and then northeast, southeast, and southwest. All of my field lines, of my field annotations are going that way, but I'm also checking as I'm building my record if they're going that way too. All of them so far are going the correct way, including my joiner. Oh, you can't hit enter, nice. Okay. Southwest. Okay, we now have all of our record lines in here. I'm going to take this out because this is going to conflict with the lines that are already in there. And I'm going to move this a little bit north of it. Now you need to explode the text so that the field goes away. So I typed X, enter, and I select all of them, and now they're gone. Now you'll see with the ones that had fields have D's instead of degree symbols. Well, you can get rid of this if you don't have a special mouse, is type %D to replace the D. Typing %% in front of the D does not work. You have to actually type the third D. So erase the D. Again, all of the ones that had fields, you can go in and type %%d. If you have the mouse with the macro, you can press your appropriate macro button. That is all of them. Now we're going to end object isolation. Shoot! And I did it again. I'm in a bad habit where I continuously do this. I selected my property lines. While they were all still there, while they were all still labels that weren't exploded, you need to go into the Analyze, Survey, Map Check. So that was the Analyze tab, Survey dropdown, Map Check. And you'll click the globe icon, type closure or CR, closure report, it doesn't matter. Specify a corner on your property line, and what you're going to do is you're going to extract the data from these labels to create a closure report. And so what you do is you find a starting point and then click on the label that specifies the direction you're going from there. From this point, we're going northwest to get to this point. We are not going southwest to get to this point, so I'm not going to click on this one. And you'll see a little arrow that follows the property line with it after you click. And so we go through and we click the whole thing and make sure that this arrow ends up at this spot. Hit enter to end, go to the output panel, click on the clipboard. Now we're going to go into our job folder, go into the copy PDF folder, and create a new text document called closure report. Go into that text document. Now we're going to paste copied this information into our clipboard, and I just hit Control V to paste it. Now we need to pull the square area. So I'm going to copy that and go to a area converter and paste it in there, and that gives me square acreage of that. We are going to round. Oh sheesh. I don't know what just happened. Oh sheesh. That space there. Our acreage is 1.743. If you don't know how to round, everything below 4 rounds down, so it keeps this the same, and everything above 4, namely 5 and above, rounds it up. So if this is 1.745, then this would be, then what we would record for our acreage is 0.148 acres. If this number behind it was a 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, because it's a 4, 3, 2, or 1, namely a 3, this is going to stay the same. So we're going to have 1.0 or 0.147 acres. So we're done with this, so we're going to save it, close it, move this back over. We are done with this. This is, at this point, you would have exploded all of this stuff and then turned it into the proper things. Like I said, I forgot and made a bad habit of doing those without it, so these don't need to be here anymore. Happening because these are already here. I'm going to pull my acreage label, my property label. I'm going to put it somewhere I think it works. Like I said, this is going to be 0.147 acres. Now that I have my acreage, I'm going to, give me 1 second. Okay, I ran the closure report. Now I'm going to annotate, and I'm going to annotate my building dimensions and my fence lines. So I'm going to go to the Annotate tab, go to the Aligned command, and annotate the front of my house to the property line. I'm going to check both sides to make sure that one side isn't close. Which side is closer? This side is closer because it's less than, so I'm going to delete this one, and I'm going to annotate all. Because this is so close, it is actually kind of important to annotate it. That's 0.2. This side is also 0.2. This side is less crowded, so I'm going to come in here. I'm going to say building in and show that there. Now I need to annotate this fence. Go to the Align command. And I'll say how far out it is. It's 0.3. I'm not going to say how that's out because it's too close. I'll do another align command to check this one to make sure that it's not 0.4 or below. This one is 0.4. I'm going to do fence out. And I'm going to move it because had I left it where it was at, then you'll see you have the fence line going through the arrow. It's hard to see. So we're going to move it out a little bit. We'll do the same thing here. De-aligned. Actually, we're going to do from the fence line, or from the property line to the fence. I'm going to pull it out so that our arrows don't intersect. I'll do fence out. I don't have a lot of space here, so I'm going to move this text instead of moving this all the way down and getting it into here. You can see how the arrow is going through the 9. I'm going to keep it where it's at. Hover over the blue dot, move text only, so that this portion of the arrow is facing towards the text, because that's all that's going to be left over. Like that. I don't think that the fence does that. We have a wood fence and a wood fence. We're going to look at his sketch. That is not the right sketch. Okay, I guess it does do that. Who'd have thought? So we are going to take both sides of this. Way too small. Put it in the correct scale. And turn off the point layer again. And do an align dimension there. And we'll do one here. We'll pull that away so that that line's not going through it. I don't know what that means. We're going to do it fence in and fence out, because the fences are in and out. Distance states. You can do other one. We'll have building out. Give that some room. You know, I want to put this here actually and move the text. I'll come line up. We'll annotate this building line, or this building. It's 10.7 feet, and this part is probably closer. 10.4 feet. Do it there. Move this here. We're not going to annotate actually the building. This side is 10.4 and this side is 10.7, so this side is closer. We didn't check if this side was closer or not. It's the same as that one. All right, now we've got every dimension labeled. Now that we've got dimensions labeled, we can start annotating our field work. Since we have our sketch, our other sketch, let's start labeling stuff. So we're going to need building labels. This is a one-story. It is a residence building, not a brick and wood. So we're going to put brick and, I think we're supposed to call it siding. We're going to call that siding, not wood. On conch, which works out well here, and this can go here. Generally, I like these on top of each other. Doesn't want to snap. There we go. That works. We have our building label. We have an adjoining building here. We're going to call this an adjoining residence. We're going to orient this to fit the building. So matched that way. I'm going to make this only 5 feet wide. And now we need to stack this so that we have actual room. We can do this one, because it's so cramped, I'm going to shorten it. Like that. Center everything. Let's put this here. This adjoining residence label here. Looks better. Great. And we can center that a little bit more to make it look prettier. Okay. We have that labeled. Let's do concrete. Let's just grab a couple labels. Got the conch drive here. Got, we don't have conch steps, but we do have covered concrete. So I'll move this here. Covered concrete needs to have an X. And then B on the concrete label. So I'm going to do cov conch. Move this from the insertion point, the intersection of these, and trim this X out so I don't have lines going through words. It's fine. We don't need this concrete apron. We have more covered concrete here. This needs to go at the intersection of this line and this line. I'm going to copy from this instead of just making another. Orient this and flatten it. And trim out the X's. I have one more. We have a conch walk here. Going to the Annotate tab, going to the leader section, I'm going to click on multi-leader. It'll usually look like this right here. And pull a leader from there to there. This will be on the layer that you're on. So for instance, if I had left my cursor on the boundary layer, then it'll create that. Make sure to match it to the object that you're leading it to, so that they're on the same layer. So now you have a leader pointing to concrete walk. This is text here. That was a way to just create the leader and not just the text. Here, if I did want to create text, again in the create layer, I'd go on the conch walk, just like that. So when you click it, it specifies the leader, and then it gives you a text box of text, or to type. All the text should be on the text layer in case you didn't want to copy from over here. Either way, it's fine. Here we have more conch. We have an AC here. This is supposed to be 6.9 feet away. So I'm going to copy an AC pad and put it here. And I'll place that right there. I have 6.9 feet away. We have an electric meter and a gas meter here. I'm sure there's a water meter. There's a water meter there, so I'll grab the water meter too. We have our electric and gas meter. The electric meter is in front of the gas meter, so we'll put these adjacent. and get these good enough on the house. That's really as good as we're going to get it. There is already a water meter symbol here. We're going to paste the actual symbol here, and this water meter was already here because it was a field to finish point. So I'm going to not display this because it's got the concrete going through it, and I don't want to show that. So I'm going to put this object on the points layer so it doesn't show, and that's how you know it's on the point layer. Now what we've got left is this this water meter. Let's see, do we have any other symbols? I see nothing in. There's a T-pad in the back. He didn't shoot. Let's turn the points back on and lower it so I can actually see it. Yeah, he shot the T-pad there. So T-pad is a telephone pedestal. Put that on our legend and then copy the symbol. Put this. If we put the symbol where it was at, it would go through the fence. You can see it here. So we don't want to do that. We can just, for drafting purposes, move it over a little bit. But now our fences are on that label, so let's move our fence labels over. And there, nope, still needs to move a little bit. There's fine. Great. Now, go through and make sure we have everything labeled. We don't have the sidewalk labeled or the curb. Let's try to only label our, or show improvements up to 5 feet past our property line. We don't need a partition there, and we don't need a partition here. And I swear I made this 0.8. So there's our offset. I don't want to delete this whole sidewalk line, so I'm going to move this down so that it's not inside of it, or it's not obstructed by it. I'm going to separate these a little bit more, so that works. I'm going to move the concrete walk in here. I guess I can fit it if I oriented it. Like that. Okay. And we need to label our curb. Great. What is this thing behind us? That is an edge of asphalt. So this is, we're just going to show one side of this road, not both. We're going to call it edge of road. We're going to move this up a little bit so that we don't have lines going through our text. Move this here so that we don't have this dimension going through. Okay, we've labeled our improvements. Now we need to label our joiners. So we'll pull up our plat. We are lot 11, lot 14. We know that this is us, so now we need to label our joiners. We'll do that by grabbing our joiner labels, these being our joiner labels. We do not grab this because this is for our property. So we'll grab this one, and we'll put it kind of in line with our lot label and an appropriate distance away. So this will be lot 10, block 14. This will be lot 12, block 14, and we are lot 11, block 14. This behind us is a 20-foot alley. And this in front of us is Rose Blossom Street. The 50-foot right-of-way. We're going to check if it's a private street. I I expect there to be a note right here. This note lets me know it is a public right-of-way, so it is not a private street. Sheesh. I don't know what's going on there. I don't, when I say Blossom Street, Rose Blossom. This is a 50-foot right-of-way. Got this information from our plat. Now I'm going to orient this object so that it goes with right-of-way itself. This is back on 30 foot. We have all of our joiners labeled, our improvements labeled. Now we can move on to our restrictions. So to do that, we need to go to our paper space. Inside paper space, we'll double click inside the viewport and do ZE for zoom extents, which will bring us here. We remember that our annotation scale was 30, so I'm going to set it to 30. And hopefully, if you placed it right, the point should be in the dead center. So it should zoom in pretty close to your property. Now I'm going to zoom window. If you don't do it to the right scale, you'll see that this gets kind of messed up. So try to definitely make sure that you're at the right scale that you were supposed to be in. So I'd remember we're on at 30. If not, it'll look funny. So I don't know what just happened. There we go. So zoom window to the end of, here, I'll move this so everyone can see. Double click inside. I'll do a zoom to the window to the end of this white line to the end of this white line. I don't know what just happened. Zoom window, end of this line, end of this line. Should be at 1 to 30. Now I'm going to lock it. And I'm going to move on to my notes. By double clicking to get outside of my viewport, you should be able to see your cursor. This job was shot in GPS, and you can tell by the coordinates not being at 5,000, 5,000. So I'm going to erase this first note. Then I'm going to check if this job has title. This job does have title, so here's our title company. So I'm going to erase all of this. And we don't need any of this either. We're going to check our title now. Go straight to Schedule B, and you can see in Schedule B that we'd have restrictions. Going to copy these restrictions. There. And I did Control C. Now I'm going to click in here and hit Control V to paste it. It's all lowercase, so I'm going to select it all, hit Control Shift U to uppercase it, and we can see that it's a different text style than this. So I'm going to select the original text style, go to Match at the top here, and select all of this text, and it is now at the right style. I'm going to check if there's any in my schedule or my item 10 section. And I have nothing in A. Easement or claim easements which are not recorded. This does affect us, but this doesn't mean anything since they're not giving us a volume and page or a specific type of easement. Invisible apparent easement, again, same thing, doesn't affect us. Leases, grants, exceptions, nothing. Any encroachment, this has nothing to do with us. Easements and building setback lines shown in this one. So in volume 780, page 29. Because we're going to show this per the plat, we're not going to put it into our restriction notes. We're going to show this in the restriction itself. So I'm not going to have any restriction notes. So I'm going to delete that portion. Now I'm going to move this stuff straight back up to here. And I left this portion in, should not have. There are plottable restrictions. Move all this back down. So it's lower. There we go. Okay, so first we're going to start with, we're going to go through and get all of our restrictions. So this 7825.534 map records of Bexar County. We already have that. That should be our plat. Nope, that is not the same document. So this is Bexar County, so let's go to Bexar County Clerk. Bexar County Clerk. And search for 7825.534. So this is Blossom Park Unit 3, and we are in Sherwood Blossom Park. So they messed up their thing. Yeah, we're Blossom Park Unit 3. All right, so what needs to happen now before we do anything else is we're going to go into our PDF folder. Okay, let's try it again. Pull it down here. In our job folder, on our PDF, we're going to create a new folder called Upload. And we did this because we are now going to go get documents that aren't already uploaded to SharePoint or to Buildertrend. That doesn't mean a whole lot to y'all, but definitely anytime you're going to create or save new documents, put it in an upload folder in the PDF folder. It has to do with research. So in the upload folder, I'm going to create a new text document. I'm going to call it summary. We're going to go into the summary. And we're going to name it. And we're going to put all the documents that are in here. So the first document that's in here, 7825.534. That's kind of annoying. Give me 1 second. So 7825.534, and we also have 7829. This is our plat. So we're going to name that plat. These are just notes that you're creating for people who come after you to be able to verify that what you have is correct. So now I'm going to, since I already found this document, this first 7825, I'm going to add it to my cart, save it. I don't remember which property this is. And the 612 PDF upload. And this is document 7825.534. Now we're going to read it. And we're going to give it its name. So its name is the restriction for Blossom Park Unit 3. So I'm going to shorthand restricts for Blossom Park Unit 3. Another dash. Now we're going to find out which restrictions are in here. Actually, since y'all are level 2, this whole thing should be done already by the person who's level 1. Or you should have done this part already as before you've done it. And gone through and put in all of the documents and the name of the document itself. So now this is actually picking up from where level 2 is. So now we're going to go through and actually read this to find out what the restrictions are. And restrictions shall be directed. Does have that sounded like a setback was going to be in it, but there isn't. This is saying setbacks, but this is saying per no setbacks per the plat. So the plat has setbacks on it. I continue reading. Yeah, it doesn't say anything. Minimum floor area, minimum cost, and now we have a setback. So no dwelling shall be erected nearer than 20 feet from the front and 10 feet from the side. So we have a 10 front and 10 foot side. 3 foot wide access overhang easement on lots which adjoin the owner lot. So this would be for a 0 lot line. Yeah, 0 lot line. Right here, sorry. Adjacent to the said lot line, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to take a snip of all of this. I've heard this thing doesn't work while you're recording. Oh, it did. I'm just going to paste it in here. It does not need to be that big. No sign of any kind. No building previously constructed. This has nothing to do with us. Private driveways. Constructed concrete has nothing to do with us. No animals, livestock, noxious activity. Subdivisions are used for illegal or immoral purposes. No fence. No fence, wall, or hedge. This is a fence setback, but we don't deal with fence setbacks. No dwelling shall be erected, placed, or altered. Okay, easements for installation and maintenance of utilities and drainage are reserved, shown on the plat. These easements, nothing shall be placed. This doesn't say. This says that there are drainage easements, but it doesn't specify where. As in, like, not a 5 foot easement or something. Or drilling sidewalks. The lot should be maintained for dumping. Covenants are adopted. Parties here too. Invalidation. And that's it. So that's all of the restrictions of 785.534. So now we're going to move on. We're going to look at our plat. Here we're going to see. So yeah, we're done. We're done with this one. So we can say we're done with that, and now we're going to move on to the plat. So we're going to look for any typical easements, and we're going to see any easements in the notes. First, there is a typical easement here that shows a typical 2x2 electric easement and a typical 5x7 transformer easement. I've seen these a couple of times. So what typical easements usually mean is that it applies to every lot, but the way that this is shown implies that this is a 5x7, this is a 2x2, and you can see those here. This is a 5x, holy crap. This is a 5x7, that's a 2x2, it's a 5x7, there's a 2x2. So if we look on our lot, you can see we don't have one on ours, but they have one adjacent to us. Since it's not on our property, we're not going to show it. But it's good to know that this is, because had we been any other lot, then we would have had to show it. I don't know why this is lagging so much. Anyway, so we're going to continue looking for more typical easements. This is vacated plat. This is curved data. This is not us. Make sure you look at every part of this plat. There's no typical. We have notes. We have no notes that say there's a 5 foot easement or a 20 foot setback line. Still no notes. I'm reading all these notes, by the way. I saw the word easement in here and I didn't see anything specifies where an easement is. So I've done my due diligence to look through this plat and I do not see any typicals or notes. So now I'm going to actually go look at my lot and I can see that there's a 20 foot building setback line that goes across in the front and a 10 foot telephone easement that goes in the back. Because these weren't typical for the whole plat, or maybe actually looks like it is. Oh, we'll do it. We'll just put it in our notes. We'll do 20 foot building, we're going to call it 20 foot front building setback line. We're going to misspell every word of it. We're going to do a 10 foot rear telephone easement. And now we've pulled all of the restrictions from all of the documents that have been given to us. Think back to our plat, our title commitment, and remember when I said we will be showing H, but we're not going to put it in here. It's going to be because we're going to show it. Any easements and building setbacks that came from our plat will be labeled such that they came from both the plat and are shown on our title commitment. What that means is we're going to offset to create our 20-foot setback line and our 10-foot rear easement line. Those are the dimensions. I'm going to come over and match properties to the setback line, or you can click on it, pull up the properties, put it on the easement line, on the easement layer. Now I need to label these. And so I'm going to grab this 5-foot BSL just because I can. Put it near. I'm going to torient this object to this so that it's straddling it. Let's turn this off so that it's not obstructing. Near, right there. Now, this is not a 5-foot building setback line. It is a 20-foot building setback line. We got this from item 10H in our commitment. Got 10H, and we got this from our plat. So we're going to say per in caps, per plat. That's how we're going to do that. Now we have text going through text, so let's move this and that. That looks good. I'm going to copy this. On this one, torient this also, just to make sure it's actually following the line. Now we've got a 10-foot telephone easement, being also from 10H in our commitment and also coming from our plat. Because these are abbreviated, telephone easement and building setback line, I need to put these in my legend. So I have building setback line, and I don't see telephone easement, so I'm just going to copy it from here. I'm going to paste it at the bottom. I like my words being at the bottom, so building setback line and telephone easement. Go. I'm making sure that since I've added lines and text that it's not going through anything. This is going through the fence. I wonder if I can just pull this outside. That works. And we can get rid of these. What does FYC mean? FIR won't have yellow cap, I guess. I guess that means yellow cap. I'm going to make my layer the text layer, not the template layer. I'm going to make it the text layer. I'm going to go to the Annotate tab, multi-leader. I'm going to notate that this is a yellow cap. Any other rods? This rod also has a yellow cap. If you don't know what something means, definitely just message me and tell me. And I can help you figure it out. And all of these rods are also notated. So I'm going to actually go through, turn these rods off. To no display. Okay. I don't know why these are showing up like that. Ignore this. Y'all won't actually have to deal with this. Unless you have Civil 3D. Okay. And we have this one with more fence, so we'll continue to pull it out. Now it's not going through it anymore. And we have shown all of our restrictions. So we'll go to our summary. We'll save our summary, close out of it, and we are done showing restrictions. We're going to continue, finish up with annotating this. So we will pull the rest of this information from our title, since it is a title. The buyer owner comes from the title commitment, and it is Carlos Alejandro Cruz being the proposed borrower on a title commitment. If we don't have a title commitment and we're pulling from a vesting deed, so if your if the title folder looks empty because there's nothing in here, then you go to your PDF and you go to your vesting deed. If you only have a vesting deed and not a title commitment, then your buyer/owner would be the grantee of your vesting deed. So you would put Joan Feist, but we have a title commitment, so we're not going to do that. We're going to pull our address from the PDF folder, getting the Bearcat. We're going to use this address. Finish any abbreviations. We're not going to leave it at Texas or TX. The title company will be whichever title company countersigned. Not all. Yeah, you can. Yeah, right there. See, you always got to look for it. I've never seen one here, but issued by Westcore Land Title does not mean that they are the title company. It's whoever countersigned, and it's not always going to say countersigned. You will mess this up. Just do your best to look for wherever it says countersigned. If it doesn't, it's whoever issued it. This one was countersigned by Excel Title Group LLC, and the GF number is 21. All of that. Sometimes it doesn't say specifically GF number. Sometimes it just says file number or something. Just put if it said file number, then you actually come here and change file number. But ours says GF number, so we're gonna put GF number 21-068SAR1. Because this is a title, we're going to change this to a title survey. We're going to pull our legal description from our title commitment. I Control C to copy, come here, I hit enter, and I hit Control V for paste. Again, we have to match the properties of the original text that was in here. And since it's all highlighted, hit escape to end the match command, hit Control Shift U to make it all uppercase. I can delete this, delete any enters, and make sure that this isn't going through anything. Continue going. We're going to put ourselves on the 0 layer, go back to our fieldwork folder, find a good picture of the house. This might be good enough. Maybe there's a better one. This looks like a better one, actually. I like this one. So what we're going to do is come up to the 3 dots, go to resize, to the smallest one, bring up a folder. I always forget which job I'm in. 612, 612. Put it in the fieldwork and label it small. Now you're going to X out of this. You're going to find your small picture that you just resized. You're going to copy, go into Microsoft Paint, delete whatever you had in there before, make sure it's empty, hit Control V, and hit Control C. Now you'll go back to CAD, find the Home tab, click the Paste dropdown, Paste Special. Should have Paintbrush Picture highlighted, you'll click OK. You'll click on this edge here, and you'll resize this to fit inside the box. I like to type near and go to the top until it's snapped to a near part. This is the first time I've actually ever seen a picture that's too wide. So I'm going to pull this one. Actually, I'm going to pull this one and make it near to this sideline. That's somewhere right there. Okay. Continue just moving down to finish filling out this title block. Our scale, as you can see, is at 30 scale, so we're going to edit this to say 30 scale. Scroll back down. Now we need to fill out FEMA information. So we'll go to our FEMA site. We'll go to our Bearcat, copy the address from there, paste it into FEMA. Want to make sure that this is actually our property. That's Rose Blossom Street. Yep. Definitely whenever it's like close enough, we definitely want to make sure that it's we see where this line is. Now we're going to do another snip. Take a screenshot of this portion, and I'm going to save as to, I'm going to remember this time, 10612 into the FEMA folder. Now you're going to save it. Now you're going to fill out, I'm going to move this off to the side just so I can see it. Now you're going to fill out this data. Well, shoot, here. You're going to fill it out with this, with this. This is 1, 2. I do have a revision, so I'm going to fill it out with the revision date being 3. And because we're not in a zone, this will be 4. You'll get this data from here. So look at this real good. Screw it, I'll just put it on the side. Okay, I'm filling out this data from portion 1, 48029C 0265H. An effective date from portion 2, right here. This is 6/19/2020, and a revision date being portion 3, right here, being 6/22/2020, and it is within zone X, and most of the time will be in zone X, and is not within a special flood hazard. Now you're going to select all this text and put it in 2 by layer. Had our little dot popped up and say like it's this, our dot looks like this, the little thing, and we are in anything that looks different than that has like data on it, just leave these as red, and make sure to let me know that something's going on with FEMA, and I'll take care of it from there, because there will be extra steps if we are within FEMA. Okay, we did the FEMA. Now we're going to move on to the job number. This job number is in builder trend. We are in 10612. And this is 2109. Crew that did this is at the top of our sketch. This is Isaiah, so we're going to put OIR. You'll know what crew to put. Just, if you don't ask, date was the date of the survey being 9/14/21. That's here. That was the date that he did the actual survey. Drawn, you're going to put your initials, and then parentheses CC. So in this case, it'd be Nick Crespo, VC. Review. You'll always put CBS for now. Well, and I'll let you know if it's anything different by that time. At this point, you are done. You are done primarily with this. So now we're going to make sure and go through and edit everything and check ourselves. So what we're going to do is Control P. We're going to print. You want to make sure that this has alliance. All of this should be, if you haven't gone through and set it up yet, let me know. And actually, there was a video walking through how to set up this, but if it's not working, let me know. You got here by hitting Control P, or of course you can come up here and hit print. Hit OK. Go and find your job 10612. Put it in the copy PDF and label it 10612. What we're going to do right now is go through it to make sure we haven't made any mistakes. What I'm looking for right now is to make sure that all of this is filled out. If you filled it out correctly, should see it. Currently, the fence line, you can see that the red line is covering up the fence, so we need to send the property line to the back. Also, there's a property corner that doesn't have a monument next to it, so we need to fix that. There's a black line here on top of this concrete line, we need to trim that. I did not paste a legend anywhere, and I don't. This is on a inconsistent. This is on the bottom of the line while these are at the top, and this is at the top of the line while these are at the bottom. Let's try to stay consistent. So plenty of stuff to fix. So let's go through and edit all of that. Move this on top because we need the record away from the field. We need the record further from the field than the property line. So we fix that. We will send our property line to the back by clicking on it, selecting similar. If you have any curves, you need to make sure you also select your curves. Right click, display order, send to back. If you did this right, you have updated your legend every step of the way. I did not actually do the field work, so this fence needs to be put into. Now we're going to move everything so that it's flush. Oh wait, does this need to be? This is too far away for sure. So we're just going to put a calc point. So this needs to get moved down. As we have it, we put our monuments. Oh, screw it. We put our monuments before our symbols, but the calc point's already in there. Normally, I actually send you this back with the monuments that I want there. So that is level 3's fault, not the level 1's fault. Move this up. Now we're all flush. Put our boundary. We put our legend into here. What else did we say? Oh, this concrete line that we missed. And checking to make sure we didn't miss anything else. Oh, there's a column right here that isn't labeled. We can label that. We call it a brick column. Actually, we'll copy this later too, because I don't want to change my layer. I don't even know what layer I'm on. Okay, we'll put it over here then. Good enough to me. Sometimes if things are acting funny, you won't actually be able to see your dashes while you're in at all. So you need to change the LT scale. So sometimes it looks look like this, where you don't see any dash lines and you don't see any of your line types. If that happens, you need to set the LT scale to either 0.5 or half of whatever your annotation scale is, and it's not consistent. So you type LT scale while inside the viewport. You'll type 0.5, and that worked out. If it didn't, you would type 15 because we're at 30 scale, and that is still too big, and the world remains mystified as to why, but 0.5 worked. Okay, so we've gone through, we fixed some mistakes that we've found. Let's try another print and overwrite our last save. It's printed. Let's go through and do another check. We want our monuments on top, on the very top, so that there's nothing over them. So we need to send those to the front, and that'll be our last edit. So let's come in here, select our monuments, all that are shown. All the monuments are shown. Displayer, bring to front. We'll print one last time. And we're proud of the work that we've done. So, yep, that's good. So now we will send to Jacob 106.12. So let's see. You'll go into your specific client for this job to review, create a new conversation 106.12, ready for review. And crap, actually what you're going to do is you're going to at Jacob or whoever is the level 3 checker, and you're going to say 106.12 is ready for review, whatever your job number is. Now you're going to save the drawing, close out of it, and let all of your documents close so that they sync to SharePoint, and you're done. So that's how you do this level 2 job.